What is up, YouTube? I am back with my main card prediction of UFC 326 Fight of the Year contender. Guaranteed history in the making fight. No matter what happens in this fight, guys, it will be talked about for the rest of the year and probably for the rest of their careers, even after retirement. Max Holloway versus Charles Oliveira for the BMF Championship. Guys, I'm going to tell you right now, I am so worried for this fight. Because whenever Charles Oliveira has a fight, I just can't help it. Because it really feels like I'm about to fight. And I've never ever fought. So, call me whatever you want, but it makes me anxious and I'm not even the one fighting. So, um, I be feeling like I'm part of the team for real. I be feeling like I'm dyeing my hair blonde. I'm cutting weight with him. Like I swear. And when it comes to Charles, I can't I cannot be unbiased. So I'm gonna tell you right now, I'm rooted for my goat. I will, however, talk about my concerns with Charles coming to this fight, and I, like everyone else, am worried in the chin of Charles. We all know it was never great, and he has only taken more and more damage throughout the years, and going through harsh weight cuts, and then finally getting actually knocked out, like slept by Taporia in his last fight. That just left me, 1,000 yard stare. I was looking at my phone, watching it at home, just 1,000 yard stare, just seeing it happen. But regardless, I'm not saying Charles won't have anything to give in this fight, but I would say he's going to have to give it all he has left. I think this is going to be maybe his last war. Or if he comes out good, this might be the last great performance he has. Because for him to beat Max Holloway, he has to give it his all, guys. Um, Max is coming up to lightweight. Well, he's already came up to lightweight, but after seeing his performances against like knocking out Gaethje, we've seen him knock down Poirier and outspeed Poirier. Even though I would kind of, it's a little because Poirier didn't really come out well. If he had came out like he did versus Islam, maybe it would have been a little bit different. But anyway, he's beat Gaethje, he's beat Poirier in his comeback to lightweight, and we have only ever seen those good performances from him at 155. And I feel like with Max, we all know his volume striking and his combinations are what Charles needs to look out for, and he needs to really keep his guard up to minimize any risk. But in terms of offensive power, Oliveira has everything necessary to get the win over Max. He has power in his own hands, clean technique offensively, and speed to tag, and also very hittable Max Holloway, who doesn't have he has good defense, but his defense isn't subjected to head movement. He doesn't move his head a lot. And maybe that's what's different coming into this fight. We never really know until we see it happens. Um but just based off of what we usually see, um that's that's something that can work out in Charles' favor. And that's all that is not even mentioning, um, even though right now I will, his legendary submission attempts that hopefully he will attack because the opening is possible. They're possible. Because if he wants his best chance, that's where it's going to be. I'm going to go with Charles Oliveira to win this fight. Hopefully by finish. I think by finish, the most likely option is by submission. And that's if he does. And also, maybe this is cope, but like additionally, like every BMF has lost their, I guess, BMF title defense. So who knows? We might see another change of hands, right? Next up for the co-main event, we have Rainer the Ritter versus Caio Bahayo. I'm gonna be a little quicker with these next ones. This is a really interesting fight, and I'm kind of excited for this because these are two guys who I think can take over the fight at any moment, like within each other. I think I give RDR the grappling advantage in this fight just because he's been better proven in the UFC against and like with better opponents as well, grappling wise. Um and he just seems more confident to grapple with anybody and doesn't shy away. And I don't think he would shy away to try with Bohayo. He is also coming back from taking a well-deserved break. You know, he looked solid versus Allen in the beginning, and then it kind of went to shit at the end because of his cardio and these medical issues that came out that he talked about afterwards, which is kind of scary for him actually. Um, but you know, him coming back very healthy, or hopefully very healthy, a healthier version of himself, and you know, even looking at the weigh-ins, he looked pretty lean and stuff. Um, yeah, that's bonus points for him. That's bonus points for RDR. For Kaio, I think he is good enough to fend off and stall RDR enough to maybe gas him out because we know that's kind of been an issue regardless in his fights. You're like even in Winokur, when he was in a better condition, or to get out and stall these bad positions that RDR might have him in. Um, but I really see most of his success coming from the stand up since RDR has bad striking habits and is a bit sloppy. Um, RDR has solid power and some solid technique. He's like a little unorthodox, but his defense isn't all that great, and neither is his head movement either. So I'm really edging toward RDR in this one overall. Probably by decision. I don't think 3 rounds would be enough for RDR to finish Ohio, and I don't think 3 rounds is enough for Ohio to finish RDR either. So I think that fight's going to decision for sure. Next, we have Rob Font versus Rob Rosas. Not gonna lie, guys. I'm not trying to overlook, sorry, Rob Font, but he has always had serious issues with defending takedowns and grappling. And Rob Rosas is a type to ignore the quick footwork of Font and just bum rush in like we know he will and try to push for a quick finish. And in doing so, I can see Rosas getting the finish in maybe the second round. Like you know, we're not gonna pretend like we don't know Rob Rosas' game plan, right? Um, but yeah, so I feel like Rob Rosas could definitely get an early finish, and after that, it's gonna get dangerous unless he can just stall out. I won't argue with you though if you think Font is gonna outlast Rosas, and if Rosas gasses out and Font wins by decision or like finish. I just don't think that's more likely to happen than Rosas getting a submission win early on. And then next up, we have Drew Dober versus Michael Johnson. Honestly, this fight is legendary just for the memes. Um, Michael Johnson is on a 3-fight win streak, guys. The last time he was on a 3-fight win streak was 13 years ago. In 2013 to 2015, where he beat guys, if I can remember off the top of my head, he beat Joe Lau's son. He beat Edson Barboza, and he beat Gleison Tibau, if I remember, and he beat somebody else. But even then, that was a 4-fight win streak, and this is his. This is his. This is the next. You get what I'm trying to say. He's on a 3-fight win streak now. He has a chance to go back to another fourth. He has found the second win and the end of his career, and now we see stoppable force meeting with movable object as he now has to face final boss Drew Dober with his passive ability stat boost. Realistically though, I will say I know Drew Dober doesn't like the meme of it. I kind of didn't want to include that into the video, but it kind of just rolled off the tongue. So realistically though, Drew Dober has looked like shit though in his last couple of fights, and only winning against a fighter that's gotten a cut from the UFC like twice. Yeah, so memes aside, I'm gonna go Michael Johnson, and cause they're kind of similarly level in terms of age. Drew Dober looks very young, but he's pretty unk. Like he's kind of like they're both unk status, but you know, like Michael Johnson is older, but Drew Dober is also unk status. He's 37 years old. I didn't think he was. I always thought he was younger. I when I first saw Drew Dober fight, I was probably like, oh, this guy's like 25, 27, 28, like max. And then finding out he was like 32, 33, 34 the whole time. It's crazy. But yeah. And then the fight, the last fight on the main card, opening up the main card, RoboCop versus Bruno Hulk Ferreira. Honestly, I haven't really looked at the odds for this fight, but I hope people aren't counting out RoboCop just because he lost their last bout. Honestly, neither are perfect. Both have lots of power and are open to get caught because they're reckless. So regardless, this fight is going to be a banger. And it's this fight is like low-key 50-50 because I kind of want to go RoboCop because his resume in his last 3 fights has been so against much better competition than Hulk Ferreira. Like, even though he lost to Jared Cannonier, he was kind of winning the fight. Or he was at least putting up a solid display. He knocked out Hermanson. And then... Fuck, I'm blanking. Who did he beat? Who else did he beat? Ah, fuck, man. Anyway. And, you know, Ferreira has had a solid streak as well. He beat Vittori. He submitted Petrosian. And then I'm also blanking on the last one. But you know, I feel like even when you just compare like those 2 names to RoboCop's last 2 names, Marvin Vittori isn't that great anymore. You know, he's kind of a free win just because he doesn't like to improve. He doesn't want to improve his game. Petrosian is solid, but he's not really a grappler. But I will say though, seeing Hulk Ferreira at the weigh-ins, dude is juiced right now. And seeing that kind of swayed. It kind of swayed what I was thinking, but I don't know. I kind of want to just, and he's also younger, so I have to factor that in. He's probably taking less damage as well. I mean, RoboCop has had time to recover from Cannonier. This one's 50-50 for me, man. I think RoboCop is the underdog, probably. Or not. I don't know. I know when I originally I was going to pick RoboCop, right? And now I'm not so sure. I think I'm just gonna stick with RoboCop, guys, and we're just gonna see how that pans out. But that's the end of the video. Like, comment, subscribe, and let me know who y'all got for the main card in the comments down below. Peace.